Hey friends, it's Whitney with the Essential Planner Company. And today I want to talk to you about the many benefits of using a paper planner. Now, yes, I do own the Essential Planner Company and I made a planner specifically for engaged couples, but I actually think there are so many just kind of broad strokes benefits to using any type of paper planner. So today I just want to focus on those. So to get us started, let's talk about the numbers. According to an article on the Wall Street Journal from June of 2019, paper planner sales are up for the last 2 years by over $50 million a year. So a lot of us use digital devices to manage our calendar and our just daily life. And I think that there are benefits to doing that. So I'm not going to sit here and make a video where I tell you to get off digital devices completely and move completely over to paper. I wouldn't do that. I just don't think that would work. But I am going to tell you how you can incorporate more of a paper planner into your life, which has a lot of life-giving benefits. The one thing I'll say about a digital device where it kind of corners the market there, a paper planner is not going to be able to compete, is just the digital connectivity of it. So for instance, if you have an appointment or a lunch date or something like that, so like let's say it's not just your appointment, but you're inviting a friend or you're inviting a group of friends into it, then there's something really beneficial about being able to go into your digital calendar, create an event, invite that person or people, have them accept, and boom, now you've got something on the calendar. So that connectivity is wonderful and it's a really helpful tool. But now let's talk about the benefits of paper. So for one, and I think this is a big one, when you are thinking about your schedule and your life, you really want to come at that through the lens of perspective, larger perspective. It's not just about what do I have to do today, what appointments do I have, that sort of thing, which is a very kind of narrow-minded day-to-day approach. But when you use a paper planner, you can look at a spread. So whether you're looking at the spread of your week or your month or your whole year, you can really think about that in context. So you can say, in the month of January, what do I want to achieve? And if I start in January, what might July look like? And if I'm still on track in July, what might December look like? You might be in January, you came from the holiday season, maybe you took some time off and now you're back at your desk, or if you're a student, you're back to work and you're like, and that's not so exciting. And when you look at what your week looks like, now you're even more depressed. You're like, oh my gosh, I have so much work. But if you know that in April, you're going to be taking another vacation, or you have something else that you're really looking forward to, and you get to write that in your planner, you're going to start feeling a whole lot better. The importance of planning really has to do with your systems, so much more than your goals. I'm reading this book right now by James Clear. It's called Atomic Habits, and I highly recommend it. It's wonderful. For anyone interested in self-development or just cultivating better habits, I really think it's an amazing read. And one of the things that I just read today was the difference between goals and systems. Now, a goal is a bigger thing. It's the type of thing that we make at the start of any new year. We call them our resolutions, right? But they so easily fall off if we don't have a system in place to actually execute on our goals. So one of the things that the author actually said, and I thought this was really interesting, is that in any game, both the winner and the loser have the same goal, right? They all want to win. The one who wins, though, is usually the one with better systems. So a paper planner is more like a system. And so when you are able to take a broader view of what you want to do and kind of think about the different things that you're going to be putting into your planner as like modules, because a lot of them rely on each other or affect each other. Some of them are even like contingent. But I really think that taking a bigger perspective allows you to be a lot more intentional about mastering your time, about really using it wisely and using it in a way where you can feel like you're really achieving things. You're not just rolling out of bed and getting through your day. You're actually being very mindful about what you want your time to look like and how to really think about it so that you have lived the time well. A lot of the time that requires advanced planning. A lot of the times there are different factors that you're going to consider. So if you kind of look at your life like a project, then there are multiple steps to achieving any one project. So to be able to plug things into your planner in ways that make sense so that they ultimately build to achieving your bigger project, That's really helpful. So now let's talk about the benefits in terms of just your mental health and your mental state when you use a paper planner versus using a digital one. So we all know, I mean, I think this is the first thing that comes to mind. When you use a digital device, it is going to ring at you, beep at you, vibrate at you, advertise to you. Like, it could drive you nuts. I think it could drive any of us nuts. And the constant distraction and interruption day after day can really take its toll on our mind. Did you know that science actually shows you are far more likely to retain information that you read on paper versus reading on a digital screen? And when you pair that with writing it out and then going back to read it, doing that manually versus typing it in digitally has a much higher retention rate. So that in itself, as a cognitive practice, it actually makes your brain stronger. So as a daily practice, in terms of like brain strength training, it is so much better for you to write and read versus type and read on a screen. According to a study on scientificamerican.com, there are so many benefits in terms of comprehension and retention when you read off paper versus reading from a screen. A lot of people made the assumption that an iPad would be a major benefit for reading purposes than a magazine. So magazines are out, iPads are in. But the science has shown that that is not the case, that time and time again, it's actually proven that reading from a magazine had a better comprehension and retention rate than reading the same information from an iPad. In that same article of Scientific American, it says that one of the reasons that this might be the case has to do with the attitude that people bring to their reading. So for instance, the difference between the attitude people have when they go to read something digitally versus something on paper, people tend to come to a digital device less interested in really learning something, and a paper device more interested in using it as a learning tool. And when I think about that in my own life, it really does make sense. I tend to sit at my desk and work, and I'll be working on one important thing. And when I want to transition from that thing to the next thing, I often will pick up my phone and just kind of do like a mindless scroll. I'm not really picking it up with the intention to learn something new or to do some research. It's just almost like a brain break for a little bit while I transition. Whereas if I pick up something on paper, like a magazine or a book, I usually tend to be more interested in learning something. So when you think about that as a daily practice and you think about that and what it's doing to your brain, I can easily see how a paper product could be strengthening your brain, day after day. That's a strengthening exercise to read something off paper versus reading something digitally, which isn't strengthening your brain in the same way and is actually making you a little bit less mindful when you look at it. So the next one, and this might seem superficial to some, but I think it's important, is just the aesthetic factor of a paper planner. When you have a nice environment to work in or to study in, I think it can really make all the difference. And a nice paper planner sitting on your desk with a nice pen can really, I think, elevate the overall look and feel of the space that you're in. The same can be said about hanging a wall calendar. Oftentimes a wall calendar has art. You don't normally just get like a black and white plain wall calendar. It usually hangs and becomes the art of your wall. So I think paper goods in general and then the stationary accessories that come with them can really add to the feel of your environment. Along that same note, I think that there's a nostalgia associated with paper planners because so many of us grew up with them. Before digital devices were even a thing, we had a paper planner that we loved. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go get a new paper planner every year and I loved it. I loved something that was tangible that I could wrap my hands around and stick in my purse with me or my backpack when I was even younger than that and just take it and go. And I think having it encouraged me so often to use it. If I would find myself in a place where I could sit by myself and pull it out and start looking at it and just interacting with it, it made me a lot more mindful and a lot more calm. Like it became this like peaceful little bit of time that I would carve out for myself. And it was really nice. I don't know how many people, and maybe this is just me speaking, but I don't know how many people bring their phone with them and say, oh, what a lovely coffee shop. I really want to take this out and start plugging things into my electric calendar. But taking your planner out and plugging in life events into that, I think it has a different effect. I actually do think that's really enjoyable. Another benefit to using a paper planner, and numerous scientific studies have shown this, is that it can actually help reduce feelings of anxiety, especially feelings of anxiety in transition. So if you're in a point of your life where you're transitioning from one thing to the next, especially if it's a larger transition. For instance, I created the Essential Wedding and Engagement Planner for couples who are engaged. And so they're transitioning from the single life to the married life. And that is a huge season of life, but there are also so many other seasons. And that can come with its share of anxiety, right? That's only natural. But studies have shown that paper planners help people to manage those feelings. And one of the big ways is by feeling more empowered. Sometimes that feeling of uneasiness that comes with the unknowing, like I don't know, like I don't know what that next season is going to feel like, or I don't know how I'm going to get there. It might feel like you have to do a million different things before you're able to get to that next step. And that can feel anxiety inducing. And so being able to take a step back and say, okay, where do I need to go and how am I going to get there, allows you to feel like you're in control of the process. And sometimes when it's a really big project, it has so many different pieces to it. And that in itself can be anxiety inducing. But if you can say, okay, yes, there are so many pieces to this, but here's how I'm going to tackle them piece by piece by piece. And you have something visual that you can look at and say, today I'm going to do this one thing, tomorrow I'm going to do this one thing, and so on. And if you give yourself points where you stop and you're intentional by saying, what progress have I made? How far have I come? I think that's really crucial for anyone, whatever you're doing, to stop, to force yourself to stop at a certain point in time and say, let's look how far I've come. Because the battle ahead or the mountain that you've got in front of you can still be large. But if you can look back and say, yeah, but look how far I've climbed, that can be hugely empowering. And a paper planner is an excellent tool for doing just that. Have you met people who are in planner groups? I have. There are actual planner communities, and I think it's so fun. So one of the next benefits I want to discuss is how it can really be a bonding exercise to use your planner with other people, especially other people who are either using the same planner and or are in the same season. So if you have a planner, let's say for budgeting, and you want to get together with other people who are budgeting, then there is community there, and it's really a nice thing to be a part of. I have a friend who has a group of coworkers, and they're like in this planning group, and they meet for lunch. I think it's one day a week. It might even be more than that. And they just take over the table with all their planner accessories, and they chat about what they're doing. I think a lot of them use each other as accountability partners and that sort of thing. And they have formed this really amazing community. A few times in this video, I've talked about using a planner for budgeting or various things. So I really want to make a bigger point of that as that being a really beneficial thing to using a paper planner. There are some planners where it's all in one. It's all the different aspects of a person's life, or it's laid out in such a way where it's so basic that you can kind of tweak it and make it your own. Like the pages aren't overly specific, so you can use that planner for whatever you'd like to use it for. Alternatively, you can have different planners for different purposes. That's kind of that's my thing. Every year I tend to have more and more planners. So this year I have the Essential Wedding and Engagement Planner, which I made. I also have a planner for budgeting. I have a planner for goal setting. I have a prayer journal. I have a business planner. I think that's it, but it's only January, so this might continue to grow. But anyway, if you're the type of person that likes to compartmentalize and to be able to pick up a specific planner for a specific purpose so that you can really dig in and just focus on that one aspect, then that's another big benefit. And the last benefit that I will mention is just the portability of a paper planner. There's something really nice about having something that you can pick up and take with you if you want to just get out. Go to a quiet place, go to a place that makes you feel calm. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you want to be super productive and you want to go to a really high energy place. Wherever you feel that you work the best, there's something really nice about having a tool that you can bring with you to that spot and again, really connect, dig in, and focus. When I created the Essential Wedding and Engagement Planner, I was really intentional about its size. I actually have one right in front of me. So it has a lot to it. It's very comprehensive. So that means it could never be a small planner. It's actually over 400 pages. But even with that said, I wanted it to be the type of thing that I could easily just tuck under my arm and go. The other thing with this is that if, like, let's say that's not your thing, you don't want to take it anywhere, it's really a nice accessory to your desk, and you can always have it within arm's reach. And the other thing that I had in mind, and again, you can do this with any planner, but when I designed this one, I always had this vision of couples taking it and using it in bed, like putting on really comfy clothes and fluffing up their pillow, maybe lighting a candle, just having this really comfy space, maybe sleeping in one morning and just like, you know, digging in, or maybe using it at night before they go to sleep. But again, the portability and the functionality of a planner that is not going to beep at you or distract you in 100 different ways really allows you to connect and go deeper. Anyway, friends, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I gave you some good tips and lots to think about as you know, whatever you have in mind as you consider going to a paper planner or finding new ways to use yours. Please make sure to subscribe below because I will be posting videos just like this one regularly, and I absolutely love being a member of this amazing planner community. So if you'd like to see what I have coming up, make sure you subscribe below. If you have questions or comments, I'd love to hear what you thought of this video, so please leave those below as well. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.